Welcome to the Stop Over Drinking and Start Living podcast, where high-achieving, goal-oriented rebel women come to learn how to live a vibrant and fulfilling life without requiring alcohol to get through it. No labels, no judgments, no saying you'll never drink again. Just real proven methods to help you stop rebelling against yourself with alcohol so you can drink less and do more. I'm your host, Angela Mascenik. Let's dig in. Welcome to episode 119. Why do we judge other people? Hello, hello, hello. How are you all? I'm actually recording my podcast on a Sunday afternoon from my home office. My husband, amazing husband, took the three kids out to the Museum of Life and Science, which is a museum in Durham, North Carolina, and it's outdoor, and they've got appointment-only type membership things for COVID, and I have the house to myself for the first time in months, y'all. Months. So quiet and nice. Had a coaching call earlier, and now I'm recording my podcast because I'm going to be on vacation. And so I'm recording my podcast 2 weeks early instead of just the day of like I normally do. And I'm really excited about this topic. I've been exploring this topic. Why do we judge other people for a while? I've done some research on it. And right now, there's a lot of judgment going on. I've coached many clients around judging other people around COVID. So when I think of COVID, I think of this big umbrella, and underneath this umbrella are like all these strings that hang down, and there's COVID travel and the COVID vaccine and COVID masks and all these different buckets under COVID, and all of the judgment that we are having around what people are doing or not doing, or traveling, not traveling, masking, not masking, vaccinating, not vaccinating, and all the other things, right? So I thought it would be a good opportunity to talk about why we judge other people. And I was actually asking myself this question, like, why do we just automatically judge? And I did a little research, and I wanted to know why it's so hard to not judge people. And in my research, I found a lot of work that supports what I teach about the brain and some of that automatic thought process. And Dr. Marwa Azab, and I apologize if you happen to be listening to this podcast if I didn't say your name right, but Dr. Azab is a neuroscientist for everyday life, and she's a TEDx speaker who does a lot of work around race and gender and has several videos and published articles around judgment and unconscious bias and all that. So if you want to Google her, highly recommend. I also reference an article in this podcast that I'm going to link up in the show notes. So if you want to read more in depth about her research, highly recommend you follow through the show notes and read her article that was published in Psychology Today. And the title of that article was Why It Is Impossible to Not Judge People. And she discusses the two different processing systems of our brain, which I talk about all the time. You have your conscious part, or your logical processing system, where you're intentional and aware and make decisions that move you towards your goals or whatever. And when you engage this part of your brain, it takes more effort and energy. And then you have your unconscious, your reflexive, your automatic part of your brain, which operates involuntary, typically outside of your awareness, and it's very reactionary. And when this part of your brain is engaged, it's effortless and fast, not taking up a lot of energy. Okay, so think about, putting your seatbelt on or driving a car. That's the unconscious, reflexive, automatic part of your brain versus your conscious part, your logical processing system, when you're, say you're learning a new skill, or you're taking a class, or you're thinking about your future and working on a goal. You're engaging that higher part of your brain, your conscious part of your brain, which takes a lot more energy. Okay. Dr. Azab writes that the reflexive part of your brain involuntarily spews mental computations, such as making judgments about people's race, sex, and religious affiliation. And I'll add any other judgments or computations, and the hottest topic under judgments right now is COVID. And I've coached many clients on their judgments. My family and friends have all shared their judgments, and I have found myself judging people as well. It's another area, if we don't look at these judgments, it's going to cause more separation with people that we love, right? Or more frustration in our society. And I just think this is such an area that doesn't have to be like this. And for my clients and for you listening, these judgments often lead us to drinking and eating more than we really want to. So when our brain judges someone right away and you notice it happening, it's because remember the motivational triad, which is part of this automatic unconscious system. It wants to save energy and avoid pain and seek pleasure. So it's easier for your brain to come up with a judgment than it is to pause and to evaluate more about this person and try to understand where they might be coming from. That takes work and consciousness, and the brain would rather just stick to thinking easier things that maybe our society has told us to think. It's easier to think they are wrong, they shouldn't be doing that, that's not right, they are stupid. So now, how does our society influence these judgments? Okay, we are influenced, y'all. Don't think that you're not. Judgments come from the world that you live in. So if you hang out with a certain type of person, say it's all white, Christian, blue collar, traditional mom and dad family structure, similar jobs, you're going to have a set of beliefs that you may not be aware of. Okay, same if you aren't white and you didn't have a traditional mom and dad type family and there were different jobs and different dynamics going on. You're going to have a different set of thoughts and beliefs and judgments about different people. Okay, you can't avoid this. It's just what happens. You adapt beliefs and judgments about other people based on who is in your life and your circle of influence. All right. Also, depending on where you live, different areas of the world, right? US versus Asia or Australia or Europe or Africa, right? Like all of these different areas, depending on where you live, who you surround yourself with, what your little society is, that's where we adapt certain belief systems and structures, okay? And then these types of thoughts pop up like this. This is the way it should be done, right? I would never do something like that. I have no idea why they would do that. It doesn't make sense to me. When you see someone doing something different than the way you would do it, cue stage right, incoming judgment, it's coming in hot, okay? Remember, it's just easier for the brain to do this than to pause, evaluate, and look what might be going on for the other person and to consider thinking about it differently. It takes mental energy to ask questions like, oh, that's different. I wonder why they did that. Or I wonder how other ways they do this differently than me, and be curious. So remember, your brain likes to take the easiest, fastest, most efficient way possible. This is just this automatic reflex from your unconscious mind. This is what I know about judging other people. It doesn't feel good to us when we do it, okay? We feel anger. We feel that in our body, frustration, sadness, fury. And these feelings, if we don't know how to pause and process them and get to the root of why they're with us, will lead us to taking actions we probably don't want to be taking. These actions can be to drink or eat or avoid our family or friends or ruminate or hide or yell or share our judgments or get into arguments. And all of this just creates separation from each other, which really isn't what you want, okay? Remember, our feelings drive our actions that we take. And I've noticed that the most painful judgments are around people we actually really care about or have closer relationships with. We get really offended when we see people do things or choose not to do things, and we can't just understand why they did it. And it's very painful for us, okay? So the only person that really gets impacted about these judgments is you. You are the one that ends up hurting yourself. The other person's actions or lack of action actually isn't doing it. It's your thoughts about what they did that is causing you so much pain. So I'm going to give you a pretty common example. A common thought I'm hearing, especially around all of these umbrella topics around COVID, is this: they shouldn't be doing that. And when you have this thought, most people feel frustration or anger. Okay? They shouldn't be doing that. If I could see y'all raising your hands right now, I'm guessing they would all be raised. You've probably thought this before, right? And when you have this thought, you're going to feel this frustration and anger. And when you feel frustration or anger, it causes you to either lash out, block, avoid, ruminate, complain to our family and friends, maybe post on social media, drink or eat extra food we don't really want, or avoid the person, or a combination of any or all of these things. Okay? And that creates a result in your life of, I am doing things I shouldn't do. Can you all see that? that thought, they shouldn't be doing that, is creating a result for you. I am doing things I shouldn't do. Okay? I really want you all to see that. Your thoughts create your results, and judgments are thoughts. Okay? So I invite you all to be a little selfish here, in quotes, selfish, and see the impact of your judgmental thoughts on your life. I think in order to be motivated to change our judgmental thoughts, or change anything in general, if we want to make different changes in our life, you need to see what the impact is on you. When you have these judgmental thoughts, that impacts your life. So I want to show you what this impact is on your life so that you feel motivated to change it. And like, be a little selfish. That's okay. Like, if that's the only motivation you have, instead of like helping the world or changing the world or any of that, being nicer to people, see how it impacts your life and then be motivated to change. That's how we change. We're motivated to do things because we think that we will feel something different, or we get the impact of that. That's just humans, okay? Your life is being impacted by how you are thinking, and if you don't like that, then it might motivate you to consider working on your judgments for other people. And now you are not giving them a pass, my friends. You are not giving them a pass. You are giving yourself a pass from unnecessary suffering. Okay? Instead of thinking they shouldn't be doing this or that, try this. I think I'm judging them and it's not making me feel good. How can I think about this differently that invites me to be curious or to feel love? And then go to your journal and explore that. Okay? So again, if you notice yourself judging other people or feeling frustrated about why they're doing things or not doing things, pause and think, I think I'm judging them and it's not making me feel good. How can I think about this differently that invites curiosity or love? And then go write down some new thoughts that you could possibly have. Dig a little deeper there. And if you want my help with this, of course I can. Get your application in to join me for my Stop Overdrinking and Start Living program. This is us getting to the root of why you do things. All right, my friends? Have a beautiful week, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.